All right, Shalawam Israel. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, YAHAWAH Kwadash, elect out there, doing this work of faith and labor of love, of true sincerity. All right, and I pretty much wanted to get into a quick topic, and I believe I entitled this, "He that have knowledge spareth his words." As you can see, based upon this verse right here before me. All right, and this is the book of Proverbs 17 and 27. And it says, "He that have knowledge spareth his words, and a man of understanding is of an excellent spirit." Okay, so this gets into, you can actually attack this a number of different ways. Um, like in the book of Sirach, it says, "Make not many words, in the midst of the elders," because you could begin to seem like a a babbling fool, and you don't know what the hell you're talking about. The less you say, the better off you usually are, and also, from examples, taking it, like, look at quotes, in which, like Proverbs and different things like that. These are pretty much books of wise words and wisdom, and you can essentially call them quotes to a degree. When you look at quotes, they're very short, but they're very powerful, you know. So this is things that we want to strive for, letting our words be few, but letting them be mighty in the name of YAHAWASHI. Okay, so I read this again. It says, "He that have knowledge spareth his words, and a man of understanding is of an excellent spirit. Even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise, as and he that shutteth his lips is esteemed a man of understanding." So could be one of the simplest people on the earth, but if you're standing before somebody and they're talking to you about something serious, you're locked in, you're in tune with them, with their words and what they're saying. You might nod your head here and there, and that person may feel as though you get the understanding of exactly everything of what they're saying, So even the fool could be esteemed as wise. So how much more should we be wise in, knowing when to speak and when not to speak, knowing when to hold our tongue, when to speak up, and that all deals with discernment, man. And knowing yourself and knowing the spirit and feeling the energy that's around you when certain things are being said. And this is what we strive for. We strive for wisdom, and wisdom encompasses all things. Okay, and it said what? And a man of understanding is of an excellent spirit, because that's what it boils down to. Real quick, going into Proverbs 4. Proverbs 4 and 7. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. So this is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. Getting that understanding and having that wisdom. Okay. Another precept that I wanted to tie into this is Job 10 and 1. Because a lot of times, brothers may have, things on their spirit to say, or, whatever the case may be. Sometimes, hey, the Lord might not meant for you to say what you need to say at that point. Maybe it's time for you to hold your peace on that. Maybe the Lord will bring it back up where you could bring something up, or maybe the timing is just not right, So real quick, this is the book of Job 10 and 1. It says, "My soul is weary of my life. I will leave my complaint upon myself. I will speak in the bitterness of my soul." And sometimes that's just what it is best to do, especially if it's something, that you may be, sort of upset about and different things like that. And, you caught up in a moment and you think you might say or do something rash. It's best to just speak in the bitterness of your own mind and give yourself time, for your thoughts to get clear and for you to calm down, because you don't want to make no rash decisions or no rash judgments, no rash actions, or be the scriptures speak about being rash with the tongue. So it's better to allow yourself to Have that time to breathe and to actually get your thoughts together. What happens so many times when something happens to Jake, get mad and they just wild out. You know what I mean? Jake might hook off on a boss or do this or do that. And it could cost them their jobs or cost them their freedom, so on and so forth. All because people don't check their emotions. And this is what we strive for to do, because checking your emotions is a part of being a man, and which helps you to have more wisdom and more understanding. Because when you check your emotions, you can see through all of the fog and through the midst of different things when you sit back and you thoroughly examine things. Okay, so this is very important. All right, and that's why the scriptures say this in the book of James, right? This is James 1:19, and it says, "Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear." That's the first thing, right? Slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of YAHAWAH. Okay? So as I was saying, what? Let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. Because wrath is not of the Most High. That's of man. That's of the flesh. You know? The Most High, in dealing with things of the spirit, it's calm, it's resolved, it's thought-provoking, it's you taking your time with things, you allowing the spirit to guide you, instead of letting your flesh and your emotions guide you. Okay, so another quick precept, right? This is the book of Proverbs 15 and 23. All right, and it says, in fact, I start at verse 20. I start at verse 22. Okay, and matter of fact, I start at verse 21. Proverbs 15 and 21. It says, "Folly is joy to him that is destitute of wisdom, but a man of understanding walketh uprightly." Okay, without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counselors they are established. So this goes to deal with another thing, having counsel, and it says what? Without counsel, purposes are disappointed. So you can even take this in another fashion as far as certain things in which you need to get done. You making hasty decisions, and not seeking advice on certain things, it could have cost you your whole purpose. And now your purpose is flushed down the toilet because you didn't think things through, So it's always going to be about just taking that time to examine yourself, to think, and to pray to the Most High before making any decisions, especially big ones, Verse 23, it says, "A man," is the point, "a man have joy by the answer of his mouth." Okay, so that is it's supposed to bring joy. A man have joy by the answer of his mouth. How you give off an answer, and speaking eloquently, it's supposed to be a joy to you, because how we supposed to converse with one another, as intellectually as possible. Now, I don't mean intellectually as far as big words and stuff like that, but just as far as words of wisdom to one another, or advice, things of the spirit, that's speaking eloquently, the eloquent speaking in which I'm referring to. Okay, a man have joy by the answer of his mouth, and a word spoken in due season, how good is it? Okay, because you have times where you can see a certain situation, speak on it, but it's just not the right time. Now you're getting heavy backlash for it, but the Lord could provide another opportunity for you to say what you had to say if you would have waited it out, at that moment, and then brought it up at a later date. That's having discernment. That's being able to judge the spirit, because sometimes, regardless of how you come off to a person, whether if it's rough or whether if it's in a soft tone, if they're in a certain spirit, especially if they're in that rah rage spirit, sometimes no matter what you say to them within that moment will get through to them. But allowing them the time to calm down and to realize other things for themselves, and now you bring that thing up to them, now maybe they can see it. Now maybe they're more receptive unto it, So that's why You got to know how to speak certain things in due season, man. You know, not just because you feel as though this needs to be said, this needs to be said, this needs to be said, and I'm going to say it right now no matter what. Nah, it don't work like that. You have discernment with everything, man, with everything. And this is very, very important, you know, because potentially, you know, somebody could be offended, you know, at what you say a lot of the times, you know. So real quick, this is the book of Sirach, 28 and 25, and it says, and weigh thy words in a balance, and make a door and bar for thy mouth. You know, so that's telling you what, weigh your words in a balance, make a door knowing when to shut it, and a bar for thy mouth. You know, so that's the beauty of the scriptures, because, you know, the average thing in which people seek for, they seek for discipline in their lives with various things, but they can't find it because they're looking other places outside of the scriptures. But the scriptures give us everything we need in certain things in very minute detail, and other things not in so much detail. But once you get to a certain point, it's up to you to be able to decipher the wisdom that the scriptures is giving you through the spirit of YAHAWASHI, you know. So, you know, I just wanted to get into this topic real quick, and for brothers just to, you know, pay more attention, you know, unto you know, deciphering the spirit, when you should say something, when you shouldn't, you know, and knowing how to keep your resolve about yourself, you know, and knowing that at certain times, you know, hey, it's just not proper for you to speak, you know, or just not proper for you to bring up this certain thing, or maybe the Most High won't give you an opportunity to say it because it just may not need to be said, you know. So, you know, with that, you know, I hope this short segment was edifying. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, Ba'ashim Yahawashi, the Bawanas to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and YAHWAH Ba'ashim Yahawashi, YAHAWAH out there, doing this work of faith and labor of love and true sincerity. Shalawam.